We need more movies with black superheroes in the DCU, so here's my list of black heroes that I want to see leading the way. First off, we have a character who's arguably one of the most popular black superheroes in DC, Cyborg. Victor Stone was a popular football player who had a bright future ahead of him. That was until a tragic accident mutilated his body. In order to save Victor's life, his scientist father transformed Victor into a human cyborg, making him more machine than man. Victor's dad was kind of an absentee father anyway, so it was the least he could do. But Victor didn't see it that way, and he hated his new life. Now he's no longer human, he's just Cyborg. But boy, did he make the most of it. Cyborg eventually embraced his abilities and became a superhero, and with his cybernetic enhancements, that gives him super strength, durability, he can fly, he can turn himself into a weapon if need be. But his most important abilities is his technopathic abilities. This allows him to hack into computers, override security systems, even take control over enemy machines. Cyborg did have a small role in the Justice League movie, and people really enjoyed his appearance then, so I think if he had his own movie, he would really be able to shine. But on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being the worst, 10 being the best, how much do you want to see a Cyborg movie? Next, we have another famous warrior of the Amazons, Nubia. First introduced in 1973, Nubia was originally the twin sister of Wonder Woman, and she was born from clay that was made by Queen Hippolyta. Did I say that right? But she was kidnapped by Ares and raised to be a fierce warrior. Modern versions of Nubia, though, have her as a regular Amazon warrior who earned her skills through her own trials, and she even became queen of Themyscira at one point. Nubia has similar powers to Wonder Woman. She's super strong, she can fly, she's a master at hand-to-hand combat, she's immortal and resistant to magic. But unlike Wonder Woman, Nubia doesn't have a lasso of truth. Instead, she has the Staff of Understanding, which manifests the intentions of the user. I think a movie about Nubia would be so cool to see, especially if they use the origin where she's kidnapped by Ares and raised to be a fierce warrior. Especially since a big thing about Nubia is that she likes to find other ways to fight enemies rather than violence, so that would really be in conflict against Ares. For example, in the comics, Nubia had to fight Medusa, but instead of doing what everyone assumed she was gonna do and tear her head off, Nubia instead used her Staff of Understanding to figure out why Medusa was the way she was and turned her back into a human. That's awesome. I need to see that on the big screen. Alright, once again, let me know in the comments on a scale of 1 to 10, how bad do you want to see a Nubia movie? Now we have a Superman copy, Icon. Augustus Freeman IV, aka Icon, was an alien who crash landed in the American South of 1839. And in order to blend in, his ship altered Augustus's DNA to match that of a human. And for the most part, Augustus lives through American history while hiding all of his abilities, until a young woman breaks into his house, and we'll get into that later, and convinces him to become a superhero. Much like Superman, Icon has super strength, speed, durability, he can fly, he can shoot energy from his body, and he can live for a very, very long time. A movie about Icon would be so epic, especially if they change his origins a little bit, where instead of hiding his abilities, he uses them to help people during American slavery, the Civil War, and Jim Crow periods. Could you imagine a 2-hour movie of Icon just beating the snot out of slave owners, KKK, and white supremacists? Like, oh, that'd be beautiful. I'm throwing money at the screen. But on a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you want to see an Icon movie? Next up, I want to see a movie about the young woman that broke into the house of Icon. I'm talking about Rocket. Raquel Irvin, aka Rocket, was a young troubled woman who broke into the house of a man named Augustus Freeman, who turned out to be the alien superhero Icon. Raquel convinces Icon to use his powers to become a superhero, and in exchange, he gives her a belt that also gives her superpowers. This belt grants her inertia field control, which allows her to absorb and redirect kinetic energy, kind of like how Black Panther's suit does in the MCU. This allows her to have super strength, durability, shoot energy blasts, and make her fly. Raquel takes on the superhero name Rocket and becomes a sidekick for Icon. A movie about Rocket would also be really cool because she's an advocate for social justice and she has real life struggles that I feel like a lot of people can relate to. Because of her real life struggles, Rocket has the potential to have a great grounded superhero story for people to take a break from all the craziness that goes on in the DC universe. But on a scale of 1 to 10, how much would you want to watch a Rocket movie? Now we have a character who is most likely the most popular black superhero in all of DC, and that is Static Shock. Now yes, we did have a Static Shock TV show back in the early 2000s that was extremely popular, but despite its popularity, it still got canceled. That was whack. For those of you that don't know, Virgil Hawkins was a young man who got caught up in a gang fight, and when the police arrived, they used an experimental gas on all the fighters, giving them powers. That's one way to break up a fight, I guess. Virgil was given the power of electrokinesis, which allows him to shoot electricity out of his body. He could fly, he could hack technology, he can control metal, create force fields. He was kinda OP. Becoming the superhero Static Shock, he uses his powers to protect the city from all those gang members that also got powers that night. But I don't need to describe what a Static Shock movie would look like, just take what we got from the TV show and put it on the screen. We loved it then, and we will love it now. But on a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you want to see a Static Shock movie? Now this character was one of my favorite characters in the Justice League cartoon, and that character is Vixen. Mari Jue McCabe, aka Vixen, was the keeper of the Tantu Totem, which was an artifact that grants the wearer the ability to channel the powers of any animal. But when Mari was a child, she had to flee from her home country Zombessi because its dictator had murdered her parents and stole the totem. Mari ends up in the US where she grew up to become a model and a social activist, and with her influence, she's able to go back to Zombessi and reclaim the totem, channeling its powers and becoming a superhero called Vixen. A Vixen movie would be so cool to see because 1, it's always cool to see a dictator get taken down, and 2, I think it would be interesting to see how a live action movie would portray Vixen's powers where she's able to channel the strength of an elephant or the speed of a cheetah. Like, I bet that would look awesome. And thirdly, it would be a movie that takes place outside the United States, so a nice change in scenery. But let me know in the comments on a scale of 1 to 10 how much you would want to see a Vixen movie. So this character technically had a movie already starring Shaq, but let's just pretend that never happened. I'm of course talking about the character Steel. John Henry Irons, aka Steel, was a super intelligent scientist who decided to create a metal suit of armor to become a superhero after the death of Superman. On top of the suit giving him super strength, durability, and the ability to fly, it also comes with this wicked awesome hammer that he can just smash down anyone. Gotta love giant hammers. I think a Steel movie would be a great sequel to a live action Death of Superman movie, and I'm pretty sure everyone will like Steel because he's like a nicer version of Tony Stark. Super intelligent man, builds a suit of armor to fight crime? Yeah. And it could set up Steel to be the hero of Metropolis while Superman is dead. But on a scale of 1 to 10, would you want to see a Steel movie, or do you just want to watch the one that we already got? This next character, in my opinion, is a cooler version of Marvel's Wasp, and is one of the first black female superheroes in DC Comics, and that character is Bumblebee. Karen Beecher, aka Bumblebee, was a scientist whose boyfriend was actually a member of the superhero team, the Teen Titans. So Karen created a high-tech suit and posed as a villain and got in a fake fight with the Teen Titans in order to help her boo get some respect. That's kind of romantic. Eventually, Karen came clean about the plan, and the Teen Titans were so impressed by her, they offered her a spot on the team, thus cementing her career as a superhero. Thanks to her high-tech suit, Bumblebee has the ability to alter her size, she has enhanced strength and durability, she can fly, and shoot bioelectric blasts from her hands. A Bumblebee movie could potentially be a ton of fun, especially if it's about her pretending to be a villain in order to get on the inside of a gang of dangerous super criminals. And it can also capture that same creative size-shifting shenanigans that we got from the Ant-Man movies. But on a scale of 1 to 10, how much would you want to see a Bumblebee movie? This next character is, in my opinion, the coolest character in the Young Justice series, Aqualad. Kaldor, aka Aqualad, was a young fishman born in the hidden city of Atlantis, where he was mentored by its king, Aquaman, to be a great warrior. But Aqualad's father also happened to be the supervillain Black Manta. So yeah, daddy issues. Because Aqualad was born from Atlantis, he has the ability hydrokinesis, which is kind of like water bending from the Avatar series. On top of that, he has super strength, he has super speed in water, and he's extremely durable. I think an Aqualad movie would be interesting to watch, especially if they dive into him discovering his father's identity and then all the conflict that comes with that. Is he going to stay on the side of Aquaman, or is he going to go off with his supervillain father? Like, this has potential to be super emotional, and I'm always down for that. But on a scale of 1 to 10, let me know in the comments, would you watch an Aqualad movie? This next character I just learned about recently, but she sounds totally awesome, and that character is Onyx Adams. Onyx Adams was a member of the League of Assassins, meaning she was trained by some of the best fighters in the world, and she would go on a lot of, assassinations. But she was starting to grow tired of the League's violent ways, so she abandoned them to find a fresh start in Gotham City. And it's in Gotham where she would redeem herself by training young heroes and fighting crime. With Onyx Adams, I think it would be really cool if her movie had like a John Wick-esque vibe to it. Have the League of Assassins come after her in some way, and now she has to go after them and get revenge. Like, that would be epic. But two things, have you heard of Onyx Adams? And on a scale of 1 to 10, would you watch an Onyx Adams movie? Now, you were probably getting nervous that I wasn't going to mention this character, but after his incredible debut in the Superman movie, I'm not gonna deny Mr. Terrific. That man needed a movie yesterday. Before he was Mr. Terrific, he was a man named Michael Holt, who had 14 PhDs before he became a superhero, and he called himself the third smartest man on Earth. But there's rumors that he only says that because he doesn't want the attention of being the smartest man on Earth, which I believe. Michael won a gold medal in a decathlon, he was a millionaire with his own business, life was going good, up until his family members passed away. After that, Michael decided to use his intelligence and wealth to become a superhero called Mr. Terrific. Mr. Terrific doesn't have any powers, but what he does have are his T-spheres that allow him to fly, attack his enemies, hack into technologies, and protect him from harm. On top of that, he has his T-mask, which helps control the T-spheres and makes him invisible to technology. So if you're fighting an army of robots, you want Mr. Terrific on your side. As I mentioned earlier, we absolutely want a Mr. Terrific movie, and it has potential to be an awesome prequel that can dive deeper into his emotional origin story that involves contact with gods. Yeah, it gets intense. But I don't want to speak for you, so let me know in the comments on a scale of 1 to 10, how much would you want to see a Mr. Terrific movie? And when you're done with that, click on the video right here to check out which Black Marvel superheroes deserve their own movies, and I'll see you in a bit.